All right. We
Back.
are here. We are back.
Kellen's back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the world.
I want to tell everybody how much we appreciate the reviews. You know, when you log on to your app, to iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, if you still have a flip phone, or YouTube, all you got to do is search Get Canceled Podcast. We're going to pop up. Got a bunch of episodes there. We appreciate all the shares. We appreciate all the likes. All you got to do is hit share from your app. Throw it on your social media. We appreciate that. Tag us if you want. At the very bottom, if you scroll down on your app, there's going to be a bunch of stars down there. There's 5.
There 5?
We would appreciate 5 of those. If you give us 1, I'm probably going to text you, but we would appreciate 5. If you give us 1, though, tell us why. Love to hear about it. I don't think we've gotten a 1 yet, but if we do, I definitely want to know why you think we should get a 1, and we'll fix it. Or we won't, if your idea sucks. So, search Get Canceled Podcast on everything. It's on YouTube as well. So we're back before Christmas. We'll probably still try to do something next week. Tiffany and I were talking, but we may not. So just in case we skip a week, you'll know why we skipped a week. It would be because of the weird day that Christmas falls on next week on Thursday.
You should bring a Christmas ham in and we'll eat it while we podcast.
We could eat a Christmas ham. Crystal could probably provide something like that
Crystal,
from the Hamlet.
We need a honey-baked ham next week, and I will be here if there's a ham here, and I'll say whatever you want. Just feed me.
Bread.
Throw down
my payment.
on...
I'll throw an ad in for like every 20 minutes.
People make it in the world. They're like, I'm this much an hour. Like, if you have the right food, I don't care how much I'm going to eat it. I will
while
be where
we're
you want
talking
me to be.
about
I'll be where you are.
hams, our good friend Crystal and Josh, the owners of the Hamlet, have an amazing deal going on. I don't know what the deal is. I just know it's amazing. And I know that Crystal and Josh are there like every day right now till midnight, shipping out hams. They've got great gift boxes. This isn't even like a paid thing. I just love the product that Crystal puts out there, how it looks. The presentation's huge for me. And you can get these gift boxes that Crystal does. It's not just a ham. Used to, in the old days, you go in and get a ham, that's fine. Now, you can, it's literally like a catering thing, Kellen. So you got customers at your place, you want to send something, they get like this amazing designer style box. In it, she's going to put some jellies and like spicy type jams that Hamlet's created.
Oh, that's cool.
In the box, you can use on anything. Like, I'm using these things, I'm dipping everything in these. Waffles, fries, ham, steak, whatever. Easy and I are just spreading it on everything.
Speaking of Easy, I saw him. I had no idea. You know, you talk about time and care. I saw Easy with a blowtorch over at the Hamlet, like preparing some hams. I didn't know they put that much work into it.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
Easy out here grinding with the blowtorch.
That's the thing, though. You think that you're going to get just a ham from the Hamlet. It's not. Like, there's a whole process to, like, getting this thing ready. And that blowtorch is literally, like, part of the process of the... It's not the cooking, it's the glaze. Like, it's some kind of a...
Yeah, it's super good.
A deal. And, yeah, Easy was on the blowtorch. Unbelievable. A couple of our friends are working there all the time. You guys probably haven't met Nathan. He's in the back. Basting hams, I guess is the word. So, whatever.
So, fun fact, my entire childhood, you know, because Crystal's dad in the Hamlet, and now she's kind of taking the reins, right, and doing a lot more with it. It sounds incredible, but every time before my grandma passed, we would meet on the same day every year, regardless of, it was the same Sunday, regardless of how that fell around Christmas, and she always had a Hamlet ham there because I liked them. So,
dude, Hamlet's been around forever.
Knocking that out for 35 years.
For a while now.
I mean, we're sitting here just freaking blowing smoke up Hamlet's skirt, but it's the real deal.
It's good.
They're good.
I love
They're
it.
good.
Love the people, special friends of ours. So get your ham or hams at the Hamlet.
Well, and
Give
the
them
other
a call.
thing, right, with all the, like, let's stare at my phone and get something done, they're local. They're a local small business, and that's
Dude, I
important.
love the fact that they're local, especially around Christmas, Kellen. We're talking about local. I mean, everybody's probably just pounding out the non-local thing right now. But, dude, if you can support the local people, we all appreciate that because it feeds our community. There's all the different mechanisms in local business that you don't even notice that are a huge deal. But those local people are putting their money back into the same community. We shared, I shared yesterday, one of our customers, the Magnolia Shops. Scotty Lawrence is one of our customers. Magnolia Shops are ridiculously good. I know there's one in the mall. I think there's one down
There's
on
one
15.
in Broken Arrow.
Broken
at the Rose
Arrow Main
District
Street.
as well. We were in there.
Dude,
on Friday.
go hit Magnolia Shops. They've got everything in that shop that you need that's in that genre of. That'll look them up for us real quick. We'll give you guys some specifics.
I was in there. It was like laundry detergent. They got
But
lotion.
they
They,
make it, right?
got soap. They got shaving soap, like that you can like put on your beard and like literally shave it. And the men's stuff smells amazing.
Like it looks like a chick store, and a majority of it is.
Oh, it definitely looks like a chick store.
My wife's happy. However, they'll custom blend beard oil for you. Mm-hmm. And so my wife got me like a smoky beard oil not too long ago for a special occasion from that place. Like I never stepped foot in it until then because it looks like a chick store. Yeah. But they have good beard oil.
Well, I'll tell you something cool about it while we're being weird. It's not the kind of nasty fragrance that you'll smell when you go into other stores in the mall that maybe sell lotions and sprays. I won't say their name and throw too much shade at them, but fragrance, as I've learned from people in my past, which is one of the good things I learned, is it's a pretty poisonous for our body. And as I looked into that more, like the cancer and all the things, that's a real deal. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing over at Magnolia is it's a more organic form of getting the same thing, you know, whether it's a
everything's
smell
like dye free. It's super
we loaded
nice.
up bags for our
Super nice.
customers, Thad, last year, I think, and took what Scotty sent over was like soaps and different things, but you can literally smell those boxes when you open them, but it's not like trash smell.
Yeah, it's
It's almost like an acceptable smell to your nose.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't like crinkle your hair. So we love them as well. As I think about it, maybe as we go forward on other episodes,
talk about somebody just sprays themselves down. You're like, please stop.
we'll talk about other small businesses. Maybe that's something we can do in the future a little bit here and there.
Yeah, we ought to do if we actually want to start being somewhat structured, we ought to do a local business highlight.
We could talk about businesses, you know, of course, if we like them. If we don't, we probably won't. But maybe if we like them a little bit, we'll throw something at them. I want to also take a minute. We were, and we'll reschedule it. We were going to meet today with the director of the Demand Project as we end the year. I and Kellen and Thad, our whole team, absolutely love the servanthood side of things. And it's not because we want you guys to think, oh my gosh, they're giving away money and clothes. No, when we talk about the servant side of things is we want to be a big part of helping other people get the job done. And it's not always going to be financial. A lot of times it's going to be a lot of physical, a lot of promotional. And a lot of these organizations that you'll see us supporting, we talk a lot about the 1440 Promise. That's our prison ministry. We talk about Band of Brothers quite a bit because Kellen started that, and it's a great organization that's just a direct source and help for men that need to just get to the next level spiritually and in any other way. We talk a little bit about journey groups that I participate in. But something that we did introduce earlier this year and talk a little bit about was the Demand Project. The Demand Project is a local organization that, in short, hunts down sex trafficking, predators, but also on that hunt, what their main source is looking for the victim. While they're chasing the predator, we're looking for the victim so that the victim can be rescued from this thing and put into a place to where they can be safe. It's not. And when you think of rescuing a victim, Kellen, a lot of times you're thinking about a policeman showing up, taking someone down to the police station, and then like, what do we do now? The Demand Project is actually that. They're going to try to figure out how do we get this person to safety, but then what can we do next?
Yeah, and they've got a lot of specialized training. So just to put it in perspective, and I saw some of this, and we'll go into it in Brazil, you have young women and some young boys that have been sex trafficked. And the hardest part, Brian, okay, I catch the person doing this or part of the people doing this, and now I've got young boys and young girls, and they've been through things that we really have a hard time even comprehending, right?
Right.
Well, the challenging part there is not just where to put them, because there's hardly anywhere to put them. It's who's equipped to deal with this, and they're going to be hard to deal with because they've created disassociation to protect themselves. They'll run away. There's all kinds of things that have happened to these young kids, and you really have to have some specialized skills and really live some life to do this. I've actually had, over the last decade, a couple of our guys from Band of Brothers that have been through some of the same things, right? Be
Right.
house parents. What I'll say that's so important about the Demand Project, and who you're going to have on here that runs it, Jamie or the CEO
Kristen.
or Kristen, they have the stats. There are nowhere to put these kids but the Demand Project. We need actually more invested into this so that we have a safe place to put the kids, because we're doing locally great work, and the sheriff may know something about that, but we're catching a lot of organizations now that are trafficking these kids.
Okay. Well, and when I think about, dude, what a great explanation. I mean, so many people don't understand what's happening. This is a huge deal as it pertains to not only the violent act that's happening, but can you imagine being in a situation to where you have absolutely no control of your life at all? You're locked or trapped somewhere. You're being handled, obviously, in a very bad way, in a very destructive way. And to be honest, dude, there's just not a lot of support for this thing. I mean, I know that law enforcement wants to break in and they want to clean this up and they want to help, but it's just running rampant. It's online. It's in the phones. It's clearly in person. But the amount of digital predator situations that are happening right now is off the charts. And I want to ask people, I mean, at this stage, it's more like we're begging you to help. I know that the Demand Project has a situation going on right now where they're just asking however many people can give $25, $50, $100 a month. If you're going to give to something, Lord, dude, I know people that are punching $50 to $100 a month to YouTube TV or to Hulu Live. And look, right. I'm not judging you. We're all in that. I've got Prime and Paramount. I'm not trying to miss Mayor of Kingstown, by the way. But that stuff costs you $50 to $30 a month. If you can get on board with something that's going to save people's lives, change generations, break curses, this is the one. This is something that's going to be a long-term effect. And to add on, a lot of times when you're giving in a charity, guys, it's cool and it's good and it's servanthood, but I want to add in on this one. This is a little bit more kind of kingdom-style work. I know that's a little cringy, but it is kingdom-style work because this is a spiritual-based, Christ-centered organization. So they're not only just going to work with them on trauma and therapy and counseling from a worldly view, which I think is extremely important and has made a lot of progress, but this is a spiritual world view too, to where they're going to be exposed to Christ, the Bible, what God says about them, that their trauma doesn't. The enemy is because this is evil. We talked to Jason earlier, right? This is evil.
This is also a for good organization. Well, we're doing for good.
I want to address counseling because a lot of people, they don't know really how to intermingle, weave it. If you lead of it in a worldly perspective, a lot of counseling will help you clear some mental blocks. But when you've been through hell on earth and you've been through real trauma, it impacts your heart and your soul. And so if somebody's not doing the hard work, because that's the hard work, you can have just enough freedom mentally to still be triggered all the time and live a life that's not free. And so, Brian, what you're saying is doing the hard work. And one of the things that you said was really important is what we do when we have men in Band of Brothers for what we call a waste. We have them for 12 weeks. What we identify with men is, how are you handling resource?
Right.
And you said, hey, you have these 8 subscriptions. Well, it's your job to know what they are. I'm just talking straight. And if you're investing in something you don't care much about or spend much time on or doesn't do you any good, cut it and go, where else could I put this money that makes a difference in somebody else's life that has nothing? And so it can be anywhere. And what Brian's positioning is, you're really putting this into an organization that's helping helpless people. These are children that have been traumatized and put through hell on earth, and a lot of them drugged while they've been put through hell on earth, with men trafficking them and sexually exploiting them. And you have real people in our real city getting these kids, going through all the training and sitting with them with all the stuff they have to go through and all the life they have to unpack and all the trauma they have to unpack. And they're, by the way, they were volunteering. The house parents that I had, they gave up and left their house and volunteered to do this for kids. So if you have some silliness or some expenses going into candy bars, energy drinks, this is how we say it, and you mind some of the subscriptions that you just don't need to invest in, reinvest that in helping somebody that can't help themselves.
100%. And we're all guilty of this, Kellen. I mean, we're all guilty a little bit of mismanaging the budget to things that we don't necessarily need, and then something pops up that's like the real thing, and that's what we're trying to tell you guys. You got to get into this. We're gonna put the Demand Project's website on our links in the podcast today. So when you click on it, you'll be able to donate. But what we would also ask you to do is think and pray about a monthly give, and this doesn't have to be huge. Lord, they can do something with anything. You know, God can do it. I mean, it's mentioned in the Bible. Talking about she had nothing, dude. She had a couple. What would amounted to some change in our day, and the Lord was more interested in that change than he was like a huge offering because of the heart position. So we're going to ask you to consider it.
Her heart position to give was clear versus other people boasting about what they give. They had a poor heart position, even though the resource they gave looked like more. She was actually giving in abundance, and they were giving in lack because they had so much. So it changes you, right? When you give. The other thing I want to talk about nonprofits, because we've helped a couple. Dude, you get some great donors, but a nonprofit really sustains, and Brian hit the nail on the head, long term, is big companies go through ebbs and flows. And so great, there's some big checks cut. When it's people that get behind a mission to like save kids, and that's what this is, and really minister to kids and come after the heart and the soul and get them back into a safe place and thriving in life one day. If that's the heart posture and you get 1,000 people giving $25, that makes the huge difference. That's the thing that's sustainable, is the little giving that's consistent. So consider it.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now that we love the people that are involved in the Demand Project. I can tell you right now, some weird friendships for me have come out of that organization that I definitely never expected, but I really like the alignment. I like how the Lord works with this thing. On March 21st, they'll have their gala this upcoming next year. Kellen and I will definitely have table there. We love to go to the gala and engage in it. They should probably just have us MC that deal.
I'm not going to comment.
Lord.
I think it would be great.
They need to have us MC that deal, but hey, whatever. We're pretty busy, so whatever. It probably won't even be allowable for us to do.
No, you let me have front stage, and I'm going to say no to it.
Well, I mean, I don't. It's like, do they want to sell 500 tickets, or do they want to sell 2,000 tickets? Dude, I'll wear whatever they ask me to wear. Like a blue hoodie tuck.
Jamie, did you hear that?
He's wearing a hoodie just with a tie painted.
Maybe I just go blue sparkly shorts, bow tie.
No shirt.
No shirt, dude.
Just not modest at all about sex traffickers.
I think, I was about to say, I think we completely went off the path.
It's going to be a little weird.
It's a sex
trafficker. Probably throw on the full tux.
Maybe just like the blue tank top and the sparkly shirt.
Like on Christmas Vacation, just the half turtle. The half turtle.
We just lost everything. What Brian said is he's about to make a commitment, like everybody that does at the beginning. They don't make it today. They're going to wait till January 1st. I'm not punching anybody in the face right now that you're just going to wait to prolong your success. But January 1st, Brian's going to have a huge transformation and eat perfect till March so he can wear a strange tuxedo. That's all I heard.
Well, fine, I'll wear an appropriate outfit for this deal, but like I said,
he's ripping the shirt off. There's going to be a Rocky shirt under there.
Do they want standing room only, or do they not?
We could wear some Rocky shorts.
We could wear. I got a full Rocky suit, bro.
So what are we talking about
zip
today?
up onesie.
Hey, with the
train
with
went
the
off the track so fast and so hard.
So
all right, let's get back on.
Turn the AC off for just a second, please.
So we're gonna hammer up some Demand Project. We're gonna throw it on the website. We're gonna transition a little bit today as we work through some little deals here. I can't even see Thad when he turned sideways, by the way.
Yeah, you lost
Thad
some
was
serious
walking
weight,
over
bro.
there, turned sideways, just disappeared. Last week was awesome. It was really weird, Kellen, because you were out of town. We tried to figure it out, and you'll get into it in a minute and kind of tell us what happened. But the message I read was, I'm in Brazil, which I knew that, and someone's house burned down, and our team is going to help. We weren't able to have you on, but dude, we had an amazing guest. I hated for you to miss Justin. It was so hard for us to get a schedule, though.
Logan was here last week. Justin was here with him.
Working with Justin. We'll talk about the last two guests, because I think we had our last two runs have been really good. Justin, we had the issues that day was with the tech.
With all of it.
With the
But
tech.
you guys were
Somebody
all,
didn't
we're
want us
all,
talking
we
to
were
Justin.
all in
We
the
were
room.
in here. Golly, Justin, I liked Justin because he's so authentic. Someone mentioned to me when they read, they're like, man, it was so good, but it was kind of weird for him to cuss. And I'm like, was it?
That would be a whole nother, like, we should talk about that in a podcast. There's this thing, right, called sanctification. And what's hard for people when they think about aligning with religion or somebody going to church is having any capacity for somebody to just be where they're at in their walk. Our heart posture, if you believe in Jesus, is not to say, why are you cussing? It's to pray for that person, encourage them to continue. And Brian, you actually did a great job of this. It's to see what God's doing and call it out and encourage them towards that path. And what's interesting too, I mean, fun fact, guys don't do good with shame. They already know where they suck. They already know what they want to stop. And so when you handle things improperly, you throw more shame on their shoulders. And actually, Justin did a great job with this. Some people getting buried, even though they look big and tough, with the fact that they're carrying so much shame they can't move.
Dude, I'll tell you this right now. The amount of humility that exuded out of Justin the other day was unbelievable. For a guy who's been what he's been through, but could capitalize like a mofo on the thing. I mean, we're talking tattoos and beard and the cars, and everyone's drawn to this lifestyle and this culture. He could capitalize on this thing big time and not help anybody. And he's helping people with it. I loved that. But the other thing I learned, guys, I probably learned this 10 or 15 years ago. A buddy of mine that I was really close to in my youth group moved out of the Bible Belt here and went to be a youth pastor in a pretty hard place in LA. And what he learned over a couple of years there was like, there are cultural differences. And let's be careful not to make excuses, but there are cultural differences. If you go spend any amount of time in Germany, Russia, or Ireland, they drink beer a lot. Why? One, because it's a cultural thing there. Two, most people aren't drinking to get hammered there. Three, the water sucks. It's always been a thing.
Can attest.
The water
been
sucks.
to Germany.
So it was always a thing there. Well, in America, it's
that's
different.
why wine was in the Bible so much.
Oh.
It wasn't the type of wine we drink now. It's just the water wasn't clean.
Well, and so in California, in this area, Jody was like, one of the biggest things I learned was some of the best people I know, every once in a while, they're throwing out a cuss word. And he was like, it was so weird for me because in our youth group, our youth pastor, Kevin, like if we said butter crap, he would smack our forehead. And he was like, because he went right out of that into like a little bit of the juice. Now, not GD, not those, because obviously that's very slanderous towards God, but he's hearing some of the cuss words and he didn't know how to handle it. And as a few years go by, he would tell me over and over, it didn't change him. Like it's not like he just started cussing like a sailor or anything like that. He would let one slip here and there. But what he did notice is he didn't judge great people around him doing action, like actual action towards what the Lord was asking. And that's what he started to weigh it with. Like, what do I have here? This is actual action and things going towards what God's asking us versus a few cuss words or the cuss words with nothing, no action. That's a lot easier to judge for people. But when someone is going full boat, doing what God's providing and asking, and they're in the fight, and they get into some cuss words, I think what he learned was, this is not anything. This is nothing. I need to be paying attention to what they're doing, like what's happening. They grew up in a different world than me. And I learned to appreciate it better there as I got to know Justin over the phone too, is the heart there is good. He's tossing down a little bit of the cuss, right? He's aggressive. And if you watch his videos, he's getting after it and he's very passionate. But what I heard coming out of the guy was humility.
Well, and he's got, I think everybody wants that drive. And the reason he's going so hard every single day is he has a real purpose for other people. It's not about revenue. It's not about how cool he looks. He's really overcome some hard things. And it's because of the discipline and the people in his life, and he wants to help other people. He has the right why. When you talk about, and I don't want to get too derailed on this, but I'm on it. When you talk about people coming alongside other people and judging them for the action, it's interesting, right? Because we're called to pray for people depending on where they are and call out their anointing, maybe talk to them in private. But here's the thing I often see. Most people that talk about the actions of other people don't have enough equity with them to say anything to them. So why are you talking about them?
Right.
That's gossip at that point. And you're in a sinking ship at that, doing that. I will also say, our buddy Mark Simpson.
Yeah. I love
By
Mark.
the way, South Community Church, Mark's a
while.
stud. Went to Brazil with us, got on this little tiny red wagon that we had 11 of us in, pulled by a moped. We thought we were going nowhere. It was a fun moment. But Mark Simpson's just an incredible pastor, and one of the guys that I have that would be fine at the Demand Project, managing the kids because of the life he's lived. If you knew the life he lived, again, you probably couldn't sit in the room and digest all of it.
Right.
And this guy gets hit by the Lord, storms out of Band of Brothers a couple times, comes back with humility, seeking the word, doing all the hardest things in life. And he listened to one of Mark's sermons, like decided to go to church, walked up to him and he was like, that was so effing awesome. Effing. He's like, I love this effing place. You're so and it was just beautiful. It was
Mark would have been perfect for that.
He was. But again, there was like, look at where this guy's at. If you knew his story and knew where he's at, he doesn't, like the things he's overcome that you've never had to go through, God's got him in a good place. His heart posture is perfect. You just don't like the action because you've been trained wrong.
You know, I love that about Mark too. Something recently happened at my church with Paul that was pretty similar to that. And the way Paul handled with such grace reminded me of Mark too. I actually believe I thought of Mark then because Mark has told a couple of stories like that to where, because he's out in the market.
Yeah.
Mark is out in the marketplace, owns a business. So it's not like he's just behind the pulpit all the time. He's out with normal dudes like us. And I just saw what happened with Paul. It was at the church. It was something that happened there kind of towards the altar. And I thought, you know, that's going to make a guy blush. But Paul just kept going with it. I love our pastors that understand that they're in a church and there needs to be reverence, and there is, and they're gonna show reverence themselves. But they also know if they're really after people that are not in the church, that people are gonna come from the outside and they're probably gonna take a cigarette break, dude. Mm-hmm. They're gonna do certain things that it's like, Lord, man, you're not going to hell if you smoke a cigarette, right? I mean, come on with that. I'm so tired of that nonsense. So tell us a little bit though. You know, we had Logan last week. That's the one you had to miss, man. You know Logan. Dude, I love him. He's been on a roller coaster ride the last couple of years of his life. We talked a little bit about it last week when you weren't able to join. What I love about Logan is his ability. He'll just say, he's honest about it.
Yeah.
You know, look, I've tripped over some things, but I could relate with Logan. I've been through some nasty as well and just leaned into the flesh here and there. What I love about Logan is he's not going to try to convince you he didn't. I mean, Logan's a nice-looking dude, all built up, got a funny personality, but he does love to love people.
Yeah,
I mean, he loves to help people. No matter what phase of life Logan's in, that's in him. Like, he's going to help. He wants to help. And right now, they're on a run. Him and Jose, you know Jose. Jose's a great dude too. In fact, Jose's been an absolute angel to me over the last couple of years. They really thought it would be cool to bless people, but see like what it looks like when you bless them. And he got a few nominations, and the story he told you weren't able to join was so special, dude. They had gotten word that the mother had a disease that had been passed on from family members, and she was going to die. Little boy. And basically, long story short, they got word that they were at the grocery store. And so Logan shows up with a big Lego set, a bunch of cash, and a little Lego set. Okay.
And a hat. That prayer hat.
The healing hat.
Yeah, the healing hat.
Jose, you know, that's a Jose thing. You know, they prayed over these hats. You got to love Jose. But that's a Jose thing too, healing hat. Shows up, little boy, like, what would you rather have? Long story short, little boy goes for the healing hat for mom. Talking about a little boy too, 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that, right? And of course, in Logan style, gives him the hat. He had offered him the little Legos or the hat. And when he took the hat, Logan was already prepped. Gives him like a 10 million piece Lego set, and then pulls out like 500 in cash. And gives the little boy. It was heart-wrenching to watch, but dude, how encouraging is it to see this 10 or 11-year-old boy jump on prayer hat or healing hat?
Yeah.
That's special. Something in that little boy is top-notch, because even a great little kid that cares about mom is rarely ever going to go after healing hat because they wouldn't even understand the concept, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
my little Maverick might, maybe, but he's a special kid. I know some special little boys, but I wouldn't even judge a dude for not even understanding what that meant.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
I mean, so last week when we watched that, when Logan was on, I shared that, and I had like 9 people send me messages of like, they watch it like 5 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and they're like, it should be illegal to cry this early in the morning.
Oh.
And like it went from like 850 views to like or likes to like 2,700, and I'm like, let's go. So Logan's doing it. He's got a big heart, and he's open to what.
And he's not making any money on this.
No,
guys.
he's open
Logan's
to,
not loaded up making money on this deal. He's just a passionate dude, and when he decides he's going to walk around the dang United States, he did. And when he's going to help some people at a grocery store, he does.
But he's just like open to the obedience.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we hit on last week, was like being open to being obedient.
I love how God aligns things. He and I actually, before I left, I went home to work and somebody's cleaning the house, so I like just miscommunication, which I do often. I remember there's a cool little coffee place that's like not a Starbucks. It's local over on like 81st and Mingo-ish. Para or something. They have really good coffee.
I know where that is.
I drank a nitro iced coffee and was up for like 72 hours. It was strong.
Wired.
But I went over there to work and Logan was in there. And Brian, before you even had that idea, man, he and I had the most authentic conversation for about 2.5 or 3 hours.
I remember you telling me that.
And that was, I mean, it was honestly like, he's like, God put this on my heart. It's intimidating. I know how this stuff works, but I want to do this. And here's just the cries of my heart, basically. And he's younger than I am. So we had a really authentic.
He's a lot younger than you,
good conversation to posture.
He's younger than me.
He's a lot younger than all of us.
That's why I wear this hat, so you look old.
Dude, Logan's like
28.
Yeah.
He's like 5 years younger than me, but still, like.
Lord, I know. When I met him for the first time, I thought, okay, he's got to be something age, like probably in his 30s. And he told me, he's like, I'm like 25. I was like, what? Young, dude. Well, look, we love you, Logan, and we're going to keep promoting what you're doing, dude, because I love you, and I want people to know what you're up to, and I appreciate the effort. Think of it this way. In the adoption world, we say this, if just, 60 to 70% of more people in the United States would consider adopting one child, there would be zero children needing a home.
Need help.
And we talk about a lot of that in the adoption world, not because we're cool. I mean, Anna and I adopted too. That's how we got Maverick and Sophia, which is a great story. But I just think about just one, man, it would really impact it. So when I think about Logan's situation here, if just a few more people would throw down on helping someone in need, like really in need, it would change the whole setup that we have going.
Yep.
Everything would change because of the amount. When number one, the person that gets blessed the most is who? Logan. You got to remember, when you're giving, even the Bible talks about that. When you're giving, there's something about you getting blessed more. Dude, every time we've ever gone to the prison, you're going to tell us for a few minutes here in a minute how you were ministered to a ton more in Brazil, I'm sure, than anyone on the other side of that. When you're giving, when you're helping other people, when you're trying to improve someone else's situation, no matter what it has to do with, you always walk away feeling so much better. It's that whole concept about praise and worship. It doesn't always change your circumstances, but it changes you. It changes the way you see the circumstance.
And the fruit you walk around with changes everything. It changes your heart.
Well, you just got back. You're literally pretty fresh off the plane. We've already heard you belly aching. We'll skip over your
plane ride.
Your zero. Yes, guys, the Viking can't fly, but
because they had a seat like this little thing. Like I kept sliding down.
Yeah, we got to change these. I told Thad last week, like I love the look of these chairs, but I hate ending up on the floor.
They're made for Brian. They're not made for us.
Well, everybody's looking at them like, "What are you doing?" Oh, I'm just scooting up. Don't worry about it.
It's like a chick chair wrapped in steel.
Bro, it's just straight slide. You're just sliding the whole time.
We need some of those cigar chairs where you're like, you could gain 100 pounds and still be comfortable.
I'll look. We'll grab. We'll get some different
like
chairs. I just didn't want us on a couch like rubbing shoulders and whatnot. But
that's just as feminine as.
We'll figure out. We can throw these up in the cigar room or something. A couple of extras up there. By the way, it's done. Nick got it done. They're painting the stairs, but we got nameplates coming.
Oh, we should do a podcast episode from the cigar room. So let me enter this thing for you. When you're talking about Brazil, I couldn't be on the podcast, and this is awesome. So Brian's been to Brazil with me. And Rubens, and we've had Rubens on this podcast, and I would encourage you, because Brian and I get pretty intense or emotional about certain topics, to listen to Ruben's podcast. It's incredible. He's an incredible evangelist, loves the Lord like crazy, and he's got a lot of wisdom. So if you didn't listen to the podcast with him, go back. So I fly down with a bunch of execs with Ruben's, okay? And I missed the podcast because on Fridays, so we start on Monday, but on Fridays we go to the poorest part of town and we connect the church to them. We also meet a physical need. We take 30 pounds of food door to door. Brian, I get to this house, and they told us 5 minutes a house, by the way. That was hilarious. I spent about 35 minutes at this house with Scott Comar, and this young woman.
Scott Comar.
Yeah,
Love that dude.
Scott's a stud. And man, I mean, he blew the doors off with me, by the way, and was just front line, engaging in everything. God moving through him like crazy. I'll get to that. But we're with this woman. She's 24, had 4 kids, got married at 17. Brian, the house that she lives in, like, you know how people take extra pickets or things from like the wood crates that they stack stuff on?
Right.
That's what her house is made of. I could walk up and push the wall down. And so there's just a heaviness on her. She's in oppression. She was in spiritual oppression, so which is a demonic thing. And I kind of called it out after we talked for a while lovingly and asked if I could pray. I pray over her. We deliver the food. I tried to say hi to her little boy, and he's been scarred too. And I asked her why she's so mad, and then I gave her some truth of Scripture, and she said, no, God showed up and said he's going to restore what I lost. But it took a while for her to tell us what was going on. Her husband had gotten on meth, and I don't know if you know anything about drugs. So there's drugs, and then there's poor people.
I certainly don't.
Well, there's poor people drugs. Like if I have no money, but I can scrape some stuff together.
Oh, yeah, like the extras.
It's cut with a lot
like
of stuff.
D meat. You guys know what D meat is? When you hear grade A meat, this is a real thing.
Yeah, D
In
meat.
prison, dude, Kellen, those guys are eating D meat. What that means is they grind up the whole cow.
Yeah.
They're spitting bones out. So when you're talking about the drugs, there's rich people drugs, and there's poor people drugs.
And there's drugs cut with a million different things.
Right.
And so when I've got no resource, but I scrape by what I can and buy drugs. It's cut with a lot of nasty stuff. This guy loses, she tells us how much he weighs. He loses 100 pounds. He's down to 100 pounds. And she said the neighbors luckily heard her screaming when he tried to murder her. Golly. And pulled him off. And she told some people they didn't do anything about it, said she was trying to get some attention. They're in a hard place, but she's a young, attractive woman, right? And they thought she wanted attention, is what they told her. They didn't listen. And he came back and burned all the clothes for the entire family. He broke everything in their house, which wasn't much, and then he tried to light her on fire. And so we're just sitting with her. And what I was able to minister to, because she knows the Lord, was that he's close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. This isn't an outside thing. This is a heart-soul thing. She agreed. But the design of Jesus, and she really listened, was to bear burdens. It's not ours to hold. And I said, he did that to you, but you're letting him do it today. Would you help me let you get out of that? And she prayed with me. She hit oppression, where you've seen that on people, not full on whack-a-mole, heaviness, strong, just power down. And we knocked that off of her through prayer. And Scott was there with me. We were able to minister to her. And then we left, right? Gave the food, went to another house, had 10 kids. I looked at Scott and I'm like, we're renting a truck if we can't take the bus, and I'm going to go buy everything in that house. You in? And got with the other execs. Rubens wanted to do it too. Rubens bought the stove and some of the bedding. We took the 2 hours, like I was supposed to be on the podcast, and we went into the city and bought everything she needed.
So they had a store available that you could get something.
6 stores.
Wow.
And so we got some mattresses for each kid. Dude, they had one small couch, and half of it was beat down. The couch was these two together. It was probably a $50 couch, and half it's beat out full of flies. They had one bed they all shared, and nothing else was in the house. So the food we gave her, she couldn't cook. So we bought a stove for her. There's 2 empty rooms. We filled the rooms with mattresses for the kids. We came back, and they had a fan exposed. By the way, she has like a 1-year-old kid that was butt naked running around having a blast, little boy. Like a 4-year-old, 11-year-old, and like a 9-year-old. And the fan doesn't have a cover on it, so it's just the blade rotating and barely working. So we got 2 brand new fans.
Not really safe, but yeah.
And then we, like the fun part too, Taffness, who's the new Daniel, went and helped us source clothes for all of them. So we bought outfits for every kid. And then she doesn't have anything. So to go to church and get back out, I had her find some nice, like cover up nice outfits for the mom so she could feel represented when she went out too. Then we went over to the house with 10, where mom's out doing whatever. Dad's bailed on them. They have a 16, 17-year-old girl providing for 9 siblings. They have a couple beds. They don't have anything to sleep on. And so we bought, and I've got a picture of Scott Comar. It's awesome. We actually found a place that has these roll-out beds. The foam's this thick. I was like, that feels horrible. And the lady's like telling us, no, lay on them. It absorbs all your weight. You know you're not on the floor. It feels good. So we got 10 roll-up mattresses, all brand new fans for them, and went back and blessed that family too.
And when you think about, I've heard people say, I just don't know if I'm making a difference if I do this one thing or that thing. Man, you got to think about, the cool thing about the Bible, stories and parables, is you can compare it to so much stuff. When I think about you guys helping a family, right? You got a family, a few kids. Yeah, you may have only made a little small dent in that one little situation, right? But what impact, what seed was planted in someone in that home to where they're going to go spread that, right? Like the fish and the loaves in the Bible. Couple of fish, couple of loaves, right? Feeding thousands of people. It's the same idea. You help a couple of people, then all of a sudden something's planted right inside of them. Some kind of love, some kind of deal with what God's going to do with them, and they go out, and they work in their community, they work in their schools, they work in their jobs because of that one effort.
Well, and
that seed you planted.
Here's the other part of this, and Ruben's picked up on it. So go up to Ruben's and tell him like how it went and everything else. She posts a picture, and she was truthful with me. We got him Bibles too. He burned it, like it's all burned. So we got Bibles for the kids, Bible for the mom. She posted, because everybody there, because they're close to a city, still has a free cell phone. So she's glued to this thing. She posted, God told me he was going to restore everything today. He did. And she took a picture of each thing that was bought. Ruben said, how cool, because spiritually, how do you think a young woman feels when a man physically hurts them and then I mean, you can't imagine this, but could take their life, right? You know who God sent to restore that? Men.
Yeah.
So every kid and she got ministered to by 6 men that God sent to restore everything.
Well, think about that house, that first house. I mean, this just now popped in my head.
Yeah, with the
that
2
first
women.
house you and I went to with the abused women, and it was big American guys. I mean, I'm bigger than you, but you know what I mean. Big American guys.
You were
with beard.
super huge then too, like 10 feet tall.
Well, it's crazy to think about that thought process, that compare and contrast on probably the scariest thing that's happened to those ladies you and I were ministering to was abuse, physical abuse from a man, and the people that come along to minister to them on the most vulnerable subject, which you and I didn't plan on doing that. But, we definitely felt, Lee, reminds me of that boy you got of that shot when we went in the window seal. I don't know if you remember it, but it's in our folder. But being able to minister to people and using the thing that was almost like a silhouette of what got them. When we walk into their house, we're essentially a silhouette of the pain they've felt, the abuse and the fear. Right. But when you come in and the Holy Spirit's there, they're at peace. And I felt that day we were in that house. You've got to been able to, when you were going in these houses, to experience this. I've got to imagine, and people can't even understand with whatever words you're able to use, the peace that comes over the house when you come in with the Holy Spirit and he's welcomed into the place. And even though there's been attack from the enemy, there's been just worldly things going on, spiritual warfare has already been at play with the team, with Rubens, with you guys individually before you even go into these places, so that it's almost like it's gone ahead of you. There's a plan, there's a design. When I think about the services that you had told me about a little bit, and I'm sure it's going to get super weird to hear a little bit about it, but people have a hard time believing it until they see it.
Here's your house.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. People have a hard time believing this. And I had this conversation a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, so I'll set it up like this. I know a lot of people that tell me they believe in God. They believe that God created the earth and all this stuff we see, which I still think when people tell me that, they're just telling me what they want me to hear, because when you really, really believe that, you almost have to experience it to believe it, which I did. I had to experience it. But I think we get told through church and Sunday school and all the things for years and years and years. It's almost like this thing that we say we believe because it's kind of built into us. But when I challenge people on, well, tell me how you believe. What is it that you believe? It gets different. But what I want to go to is this person believed that he created the thing, created us and did all this, but he just didn't really get on board with him being able to talk to us. And I was like, so you believe that this weird thing that we can't see, that we can't touch, created all this stuff that's impossible to understand, but you don't believe that that can't communicate with us? That seems weird to me. The communicating part seems basic. Well, it's the same thing. People say they believe in this deal, but you just literally left a couple of days of watching the supernatural, which is where people are going to get healed of things. You told me a couple, cancer coming out. You'll tell us, you were telling me about the tumor. We're talking about situations to where it can't be real. And then the flip side of that is the enemy has oppressed people. The enemy has taken, and demonic power has taken over people's spirit, right? Mm-hmm. And they're in there.
Yeah, well,
and people struggle with that.
Yeah, and it's in Acts. Like, that's what's weird to me. I think when people struggle, can be similar to when we talk about somebody being abused and somebody checks out. They don't have capacity. They've been living so surface level. Like we talked about vulnerability for men. They've never had deep conversations. So they don't have a capacity to go anywhere. So I pray that's not you if you're listening. The second thing is I think that, our need for control, if we can't put it into our senses
and understand it,
our five senses, we're just out, which the Bible clearly says that God's ways are beyond our ways. His thinking is beyond our thinking. And he made us. And then he says he puts a spirit in us. And then you'll have people say, I believe that, but they won't open up their mind to any of this stuff. And I do know that probably in the next 2 or 3 years, the United States will become like Brazil. We have so much hitting, so much darkness. You see it all over social media. Everybody's being exposed to this stuff. We have a ton of people suicidal. You're going to start seeing manifestations of at least the enemy in times. Because when we go to Brazil and ask for prayer, people go, oh, yeah, let's say their brother's name's Jeff, which is a weird name for Brazil, by the way. So Jeff has a demon. I mean, when I ask people who to pray for, it's so-and-so has a demon. That's very normal for them because they see it all the time. And over here, we just live in our little bubble. You talked about cultures being different.
Let's rattle them a little bit, Kellen. We'll talk about home. So over there, you go after it and you end up in a supernatural battle because there's power, okay? So there's a demon.
Yeah, the enemy's got ground. He does not like the fact that we're there.
But there's God's powers too, which supersedes that power. Think about here, so we're standing in our churches. What about the fact that there's still demonic power there? Maybe there's no real authentic power on the other side, so you don't get to see it manifest.
Yeah, there's a lack of faith for that kind of stuff. Like if you have the conversation, most people that claim Christianity go to church on Sunday will check out.
Nothing for the demon to fear.
I think
there's nothing.
A lot of that
he's got you so distracted.
It's Christian apathy. It's Christian, just check out. They're just like.
But here's the deal:
the demon's not scared.
The box is being checked, but
also
no heart change.
Also, here's the challenge: when in the church is somebody come down with an ailment and they go to the doctor immediately? They don't pray about it. Their first resource is not God that created them, not God that says he's a healer, not God that says he's there. Just cry out like he's always available. He's always there, right? This omnipresent God, it's a doctor. And so a lot of people in the church, he will be their last resort. We go to Brazil where you can't, here's the deal. In the favelas, you can't afford freaking rice.
There's no doctor.
You can't afford to put a stove for a year's pay in your home. You have no way of doing anything. And so they rely on God, and they've gotten close to God. Like I said, that woman said that God told her things would be restored, and that was the beautiful part about what we did. Think about, we actually talked to the bus driver and driving. We had a huge bus, by the way, like the big commercial seats. We're like, you can make it down that road, and he did. Like we're down this little dirt road on this giant bus. I don't know how it's going to get out. So you have a bus, like a full-size Cadillac bus,
big boy bus,
with 6 executives hopping off and blessing a house, and this is what's wonderful. That woman said, God said he would, and God did. That is a move of God. It had nothing to do with us. It had nothing to do with us. And you mentioned, too, with miracles. So we get down there, and unfortunately, one of the greatest miracles is Reuben's team has done all the hard work. We get down there, and the church is ready to be equipped because they got the church to take their walls down and get together. They have 1,500 people ready to be taught. God's going to move in their city. We're taking ground. Night one, we talk about healing and lay hands. Brian, a lady had a big tumor in her neck and it's just gone. Another lady vomited in front of 5 or 6 people and had just been diagnosed with cancer, and that tumor was on the side of it. It's gone. Another young woman wanted to get pregnant. Her uterus was twisted, and she's bawling uncontrollably on stage because the pain just left.
Guys, you got to understand what Kellen's talking about right now is we're not talking about there's an x-ray somewhere at a hospital with a tumor that only can be seen there. What Kellen's trying to tell you guys is it's visible.
Yeah.
It's a visible tumor. It's like a thing you can see on someone. And after prayer, what's taking place is this very visible tumor is gone. Impossible, can't be real type of thing. And what we saw when we were there together, Kellen, that is very visible, we talked about the blind woman before, but we've mentioned loosely before too, but I was rewatching the video the other day.
That young boy.
Of the girl, well, the girl in the school. We had a young lady, had to be, I don't know, I can't remember the school we were in, but it was a smaller room in this one. She had to be 9 to 11, probably somewhere in that range. And she had this issue, which I don't even remember what the issue was, because when Pastor Jean was praying for her, he was speaking in Portuguese, so I never really got to totally find out what her issue was, but I can tell you the ailment was simple. Her dadgum leg was about an inch shorter than the other one.
Very much shorter.
It was obvious. Well, I had the honor of being able to sit very, very close to this one, and just like with the blind woman. And what took place is I can't even tell you, dude. It's like a Thad, you're young. What's it when they make these movies these days? It's like special effects, right? It's like
CGI.
CGI. Dude, I swear to you, it was like I was watching a movie or something take place in front of my face that was an illusion. It was like an optical illusion as this young lady's leg grew. Like Pastor Jean looks at me while it's happening. And when I tell you guys, her legs ended up being the same, dadgummit. So when we're talking about a tumor, when Kellen is trying to tell you guys is this thing was visible. He could see it there. And then as they begin to pray and as they begin to believe and follow the Bible around asking the Lord for healing of this person's body, he responds. He responds, the tumor disappears. I mean, what people need, what is going through your mind, Kellen? I know you've done this before, but try your best to remember it the first time. What did you experience in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit when you see something happen that you would have said before? Like, yeah, maybe God can heal, right? We say those words, but when you see it for the first time, everything changes. It did for me.
So for me, I was raised in a church and went way rebellious. I hurt myself for years, partying at drug parties, different things. And then I woke up by God and I read the Bible. And I cried out to God that didn't make any sense. And I kept reading the Bible. And I'd read through Acts. And growing up in these churches and coming out to Brazil, I'd heard some of the executives talk about this stuff happening. And it wasn't super weird to me. It was weird to me how much I'm wrestling. Because it's right there in Scripture. And now I'm saying no way because of what I've lived. Not because of what's true, because of the frame of what I've been given in the churches that I grew up in. That's my only frame of reference, and that's where a lot of people are stuck. Bro, I get down there, and we read people, right? I've been in sales, but I worked at the bar for 4 years. I can read somebody. And the first night, they're equipping the church in healing. So we're in a church, and it's raining. And you have a whole list of things to take, by the way. I didn't ask any questions. The nice stuff, in case you're there on a Sunday, you're supposed to maybe preach in a couple of the churches or share a word of what God did. So I had all my nice stuff on. It's raining. We're in a building with holes, and I just drenched $300 shoes. Like everything's ruined. But it's this incredible experience. You're there for the first time. I've never seen a church worship like this. I've never seen things happen like this. And then you start praying for healing. Well, people come up to talk about it. And I'll tell you, the first couple people look like they were full of it. And so then I'm having an inner dialogue. This is exactly how my first healing happened. I'm having an inner dialogue with God about thinking these people are faking it and how crappy I am for having an internal dialogue about this. Does that make sense? And to my right, the second lady I prayed for is like 60. I prayed for her left ear, and I can see this perfect. And out of my peripheral, I'm judging this one person, having a conversation with God about being a turd for judging everybody. And this woman drops to her knees, doesn't come up front to talk about the healing, and she's weeping uncontrollably. uncontrolled. And once you see it, I have pictures of people with grimace. Like she gets up and leaves the church. I'm like, God opened her left ear. I know it. And I already knew it, God, and I'm sorry. And then from there, I saw a lot of physical things. But what it made me think of was like, why do I think this is so weird? Because, man, when I tell you when I'm 22 and I've been handed the keys to the kingdom of what everybody thinks that they want as a guy, you have too. Like, people are giving me everything for free at the bar. It's stupid. Like, I don't know why, if it's indoctrination from the enemy that everybody treated me the way they did, but I got treated like some kind of royalty out at the bar scene. Didn't pay a dime for anything. Caused all kinds of havoc, never got in trouble. And the enemy just kind of had me there to God wrecking me in a church one day. Like, the fact that I stopped everything, something happened to my heart. And the word says he transferred your heart. That's a miracle too. But that was my first healing. And what I love, so I was on this trip with Brian going back. I'm viewing Brian from the outside. Like, if you've seen The Chosen, like, you get to watch the characters from the outside.
Watched a little bit of that. It's a pretty good show.
Thad, there's a couple people that get healing of their ears and things. Mm-hmm. And Brian gets hit on a Tuesday night in the middle of deliverance teaching, and he's just weeping. And then we go into the schools the next day, and there's been some healing of the ears and things, but he's just thinking. Like, he's wrestling, not talking a lot, thinking. And there's a stage. We had a stage, by the way. Like, we go to the schools. There was only one school that I've ever been in where you like have a stage to do it. And Brian's standing on top of the stage. Pastor Jen's here. This girl is walking with a limp. Like, her hips aren't aligned. She's in pain is what he was asking. That was clear to see. Then when she sat down, one foot's way lower than the other one. And he sits there and just does this. And he's not touching anything. It just grows out the leg. And then Brian gets on the bus and just announces where he's been mentally. And that was my process, is it's okay to wrestle with all this stuff.
Yeah.
And wrestling with it's actually really, really good. But from there, right, you want to talk about healing, I have a picture. When you talk about physically seeing something and people breaking, I have a picture of this boy who's probably 6'2", and he has scoliosis, and it got to the point that he's leaned over looking at his feet. He was standing straight up on stage. And his mom walked up and is bawling, and the 5 people in a sea of 20,000 like people, they're bawling. It's not him; it's all around him going like he hasn't been able to even walk. He can't look up anymore, and he's completely healed and jumping around like just a happy 17-year-old kid.
Man, it's amazing what happens on these trips. I mean, I think that the biggest thing that we want people to hear, and I know it's your heart too, Kellen, is. And Rubens and the whole team and everyone we really know, to be honest, is that these very same things can happen anywhere. It's not that God only shows up in other countries or only certain churches here. God is everywhere. He is existence. He is peace and healing, and he is all these things. The problem that people forget about, especially mostly in the Christian faith, is these weird interpretations and traditions that we've brought through over the ages of our faith, to where people only want to get on board with the parts that they like, understand, or that it fits into their agenda. You know, I need people to understand all of that's nonsense. There's a lot of things out there in the world that's labeled Christian, labeled a church, labeled what you might think is the right thing, and it's not. It's the enemy. I mean, the enemy shows up not looking scary and evil like a dragon. He shows up looking familiar. He shows up looking like your comfort zone. Yes. He shows up looking like something appealing. And when that happens, it might be a church sign. It might be a pastor. It might be people that go to a church, because he's got to be familiar. He's got to blend in, but there's going to be something in there that's a lie. There's going to be something in there that's poison. And we've got to understand that to truly get to the heart of the Father is that, of course, your enemy is going to try to fool you. If he showed up on fire, crazy, looking like Freddy Krueger,
people would be like,
you're going to run.
We ain't doing that.
Hey,
all the norms are going to run.
Here's the crisis in the Western church. And you can unpack it deeper, but here's the crisis. When I meet with men and I get to go guest speak anywhere, I ask men what they do for a living, and I think I said this on another podcast episode, but I'm like, hey, Brian, what do you do for a living? Like, what's State Farm do? Just tell me.
We sell insurance.
Do you know anything about insurance?
More than I want to know.
Wouldn't it be weird if you didn't?
It would probably be, it'd probably be weird.
So for everybody listening, if you call yourself a Christian and you don't read the Bible, which is 99% of the people I talk to, you're weird. That's not okay. you're not a Christian. You don't have the word and you're easily manipulated because you don't know what the truth is. God put the truth and a living word where God's going to speak to you in the word in front of you. You don't read it.
And to be clear with people, what Kellen is saying, guys, is he's not saying you got to memorize the thing from cover to cover. He's saying equip yourself.
The Holy Spirit will move. And also, I'll say about the word, like start in the book of John. Somebody said they're men's ministry. They're like, start in Job. I'm like, don't do that.
No, starting
But
John or Luke.
Hey, the Bible is one story. Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. It's sin we brought in, the mercy seat of God, and continued grace all the way to Revelation when Jesus comes back. And if you see Jesus in all the books, you'll see it. Jesus comes back as judge because God is just. But it's one book, so you can't read John and know everything. You need to read the whole thing. And if I was with somebody, I would have them. Psalms and Proverbs are great. Read the book of John. Acts and Romans are awesome. And read Genesis, at least the first 20 pages where God reveals himself as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It's all there.
Well, a winning play for you guys too. What Kellen's trying to say is you got to get it in you a little bit.
Get it in for 6-7 minutes a day.
Here's what I do too. When I'm reading, and the reason why I want to give someone a winning play on this is I'm not the best at what you're talking about. But here's what I do. I'll be perusing something. I'll catch something. I'll read something somewhere. And when a Bible verse sticks out to me, what I do is I go ahead and put it in my favorite verses in my notes on my phone. So what's happened now over the last couple of years is I've compiled a really long note of my favorite verses. And so what happens now, guys, is not only can I just go back and peruse those verses, not in any order, because again, the power is in the Word. It doesn't matter where you get it. And people who try to tell you it matters is weird. The Word is the power. And what has happened, guys, over the last couple of years is I'd be talking to someone or engaging with someone, and I'm like, man, I really want something for them. And I'll go to scroll this note. And he'll highlight.
Dog. It's there.
He'll highlight something in those verses. So what happens is I don't have to be like this theologian and go right to the Bible somewhere with a powerful word for someone. Mine's different. I'll scroll this number, scroll it, and all of a sudden, it'll be there. He'll highlight one of these verses, and I'm telling you guys, there's probably a few hundred now. There's got to be 150 to 200 verses here. I don't have them memorized, but what the Lord has done is he'll highlight something in this package of verses that I have that were just my favorite verses. They were winning plays for me on a certain day in a certain season or certain time with something going on that I can copy and paste, send to someone. And when I tell you guys, I don't know that it's ever happened to where they didn't respond with, I needed that spoke to me, because that's not me. The Lord planned that silly thing 12 months ago.
He planned it when you put the verse down.
13 months ago.
Yeah.
When I put it in there, he assigned it not only to my life, but to someone else's life, because the word has power for everyone. You know what I mean? In the season that they're going through, dude, a healing verse. I had one in here, one recently, actually, Kellen. I saved a couple on our trip to Brazil when Rubens was equipping. So it would have been day 1 or 2. We're in the church. He's equipping. So he's providing ministry that day to the people in the church that they're going to help. They're going to be a part of it. But he's preaching about healing. And dude, I'm loading up 4 or 5 healing verses in this package. Dude, I've gone back to those so many times, but recently, the other day, as I stopped on one, it just happened to be one of Reuben's healing verses someone needed that day. I would have never had this verse. It was from some crazy book in the Bible you never would have thought of, like Leviticus 4. Lord, there's no show business in Leviticus. No one's talking about that. It's never, but it's there. It was something Reuben's had, and I'm able to provide it. So I've got people to know the winning play. As you mature as a Christian, and you become more in love with knowing more and seeing how powerful it is save them. Save them in there in the Bible app. You can save them that way too, and it'll make favorites and you can go to it. You don't have to know them or memorize them, but what's going to happen is you're going to end up memorizing words. And so what's going to happen now is you'll be able to search the concept. What's cool about Google is all the time, probably thousands of times a day, Google, who's not necessarily a Christ-following organization, to my knowledge, is providing people with source directly to the Bible, because we're searching stuff all the day. Earlier today, I searched just a a concept that I knew was a Bible verse, and sure enough, here it came. And not only did Google tell me about it, Google told me what the premise was of what God's power was in this verse. So it's crazy to me that these things that were built to kind of make us worldly, like ChatGPT or Google, are constantly telling me what God meant
Well, and
in His Word.
Like going back to like last week, you weren't here, but with Logan and like that guy calling him at 2 a.m. He like found his YouTube video. I called him at 2 a.m. and like
In complete
they like,
crisis.
and it was just like he was in the spot that God needed him to be in, and like there was nothing that he like did other than like pick the phone up.
Yeah, you
Guys,
guys,
it's-
that
are
was a
hitting
wild
on a
story.
really good point. So the basics, but we do judge ourselves, right? So when you come to the Lord, and it can be intimidating, if you know the gospel of Jesus, that God so loved the world, because God's holy, we separate ourselves from Him, and separation from God's death, like He breathed into the dirt, we're here. Fish out of water's death, tree out of the soil's death. We were created to be with God. We separate ourselves, and God loved us so much that He came back in the flesh, dies, rose again. And also, when you try to take the life of somebody that's sinless, that was against the justice system. So
Right.
lost all rights. So Jesus overcame. If you know that and you have a story, you can start ministering. What Brian's saying is God will minister so much to you, and it's beautiful in the Bible app, but also the physical pages. If you'll just spend 5 minutes in the book of John, God will speak to you. I need you to know that you're a body, a soul, and a spirit. You're spiritually dry if you're not with God and you're not in the Word, so something's going to be missing in your life if you say you're a believer. Just trust the process, and you're going to fall in love with the fill up and the time with the Lord, and He will speak to you. That's one of the ways He speaks.
Well, guys, we're on the time now. We spent quite a bit of time on this today. We could spend a ton more time, and I'm sure we will over the next couple of weeks unpack. As we talked, you're going to have things come up, Kellen, and I look forward to us being able to unpack more of your trip. I know that it's just crazy to think about the supernatural part of this deal. So many years, people have spent so much time on just the message or the church or Sunday school. Dude, the power is just in His Word, and it's in all the things no one talks about.
And in His name. I want to talk about the prison. We got to minister the LGBTQ plus part of the prison, and we got to minister in deliverance.
And the important part that people need to hear about this is that connections matter, God matters, and we'll dig into that one on the next one a lot more. But I think the important part to tell people is there was absolutely zero freedom or ability to go into this prison when you got there. This was not on the agenda.
It was a daydream. Like
Yeah.
I just out loud was like, hey, we do prison ministry in Oklahoma. How cool would it be, since we passed a prison in Brazil, to be there? And the way God aligned it is incredible, because it's an absolute no. You go to another country, and not like going to see the prison. I'm at the prison doors with the prisoners behind them,
Yeah, you're not
ministering
a
in person.
tourist.
No.
Yeah, we're there. You're there just like in any other way here at home, is to, bring some kind of word, hope, freedom, and God's word to the prisoner. It's like what He says about them. And something we've got to get back to in our world is reminding people what God says about them. Everyone's stuck in anxiety, depression, in all these weird places. It's because they don't understand what God says about them. They're listening to what the enemy says and what the world says about them.
And
So
as a church, we've got to get back to that. We've got to quit being defeated. We have the Lord living in us. We're quieting Him. We've got to give Him room to rule and reign, and it starts in ruling and reigning in us first. He brings joy, hope, and peace and a fill up to us first, and then we're an outpouring. We've got to quit living in defeat.
Well, guys, we started this with telling you. We're going to end it with telling you. You've got to share with us. Our ultimate goal here is not to build an audience of people that want to be entertained. Of course, we love the idea that you might get a little entertainment about this, but really what our sole purpose for doing this is that this gets shared for people that might need to hear something, that might be challenged, that might get something answered, and might be able to get a hold of something, some kind of seed that they can be planted in them that will kind of grow out with someone else. And so share it, all the platforms, iTunes, Spotify.
Love to hear the comments too, even if you,
Yeah.
especially if you disagree and you're wrestling with something. Let us hear it. You don't need to agree
let's
with
talk
us.
about it. Throw a concept up, have a question. Let's dig into something. If you want to dig into something, we'll definitely address it if we can. And if we can't, we'll find someone that can do it for us. We don't know everything, and we definitely put people around us that are going to help coach us and teach us, people like Rubens or even our local pastors that we engage in this in some ways on certain parts of this, Mark, So review it. I also want to remind people, Friday, an historic day.
Brian's going to wear
Dad
full-size
has
pants.
no clue.
I'm so
At
lost. I have no
7:30
idea.
p.m. Central,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
the
now.
Oklahoma Sooners are going to welcome the Crimson Tide of Alabama for the first game ever to be held in the stadium in December, in the first playoff game ever. So, Boomer Sooner,
Let's go.
obviously. We would like to take them down again. Jade downstairs is an Alabama fan, which is gross. So, that's going to be exciting. That's going to be fun. We'll be there and hopefully have opportunity to talk about.
Are you coming over? We're having like chili night at my
I'm going
house.
to come
that
over to
night,
Section
so-
41, row 20.
When you,
That's where I'm coming over
when
to.
you talk about chili night like you do, it doesn't sound as epic. Thad.
Well,
you guys have got to break
Correct,
something
but
out
he
bigger
looked at
than
me like
OU.
7:30, and I was like, I got
You got
people
you
coming
got chili time.
to the house. So
Dad will be having chili at that time.
I'll be
Look for us. I'll be on one end.
all. I'll be there.
oh, look at that cold.
Hamill, we'll be there. We got to be there, dude. We're on a 15-year plus run of our season tickets now. We're sitting in the best seats we've ever had the last couple of years. Thank you, Lord, for that opportunity, and it's going to be awesome. I'm actually really excited about it. It pales in comparison to what we've been talking about for sure, but it's pretty fun. It's a traditional
get to
thing.
have
I
fun.
love doing it.
That's not often.
Can't wait. So, anyways, I want to tell everyone we appreciate you. Thank you, Kellen, for going. We're extremely happy that you made it back safely,
Like you said,
although
it's a blessing
whiny,
to me.
but safely.
Hey,
And
we should stand Brian up for 12 hours and tell him to go to sleep.
yeah,
That's what we
it
should
is
do.
actually hard to
And
do.
then we'll
It's
just
a pain in the butt.
I didn't. That's the only problem. Is like on the way down, didn't sleep.
Well, I also want to say thank you to Scott Komar. Thank you to Ernie and the guys that went. I mean, I think, one, yeah, you're going on a trip and it's something you're getting to do, but it's not a trip, guys. It's not a vacation. We need to be in appreciation and thankful to people like Rubens and the teams that go out to minister domestically and internationally. They're doing exactly what God has asked us to do. I mean, sometimes money's not enough. You know, we can pour money into things, but money isn't necessarily praying and laying hands on people and believing for healing or, deliverance of oppression. So I appreciate the efforts that go in. I, for one, know that money is necessary and absolutely needed for these things to happen, but the missing part, the missing puzzle piece is the actual physical man, the physical woman, going with a servant's heart, full of faith, ready to see God do what he promises he'll do in the Word. So
We did.
we're going to wrap it up for today. We're going to see you guys next time. Rate us, review us, Get Canceled Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, and YouTube. If you want to see our pretty faces, you can see them there. I'll pray us out. Let's go real quick as we move on. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for the ability to even board a plane and go wherever it is that you would have us to go, whether it's 150 miles away, whether it's 1,000 miles away. You've said in the Word that you want everyone living and breathing to hear about what Jesus did for them, and we believe that it can be done. We also believe that it can happen every day in our workplace. We're so blessed to live in a country to where we can go to work, talk about you, Father, and we appreciate the ability to do it, and thank you for the blessings and the protection that you afford us in doing that. The marketplace, especially to this team, is extremely important. We know that a lot of people we encounter will not enter a church, and we are trying to bring you and the church out here to them. We thank you, Lord, for Christmas and what it means. We pray, Father God, that you protect and that you give us opportunity to help other people as we move through this season, such a tough season for people. They've maybe experienced loss, or they're homeless, or they don't have the right amount of resources. Engage your people to be sensitive to that and to be able to cover that with your blessing. We thank you for another week, and we hope for another one. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 And don't forget,
Get canceled.
Get canceled.